Welcome to MMO Grinder Backtrack, where I take a look at games I've reviewed previously to check out what's new. Today in November of 2013, I'll be revisiting Age of Wushu, the 3D martial arts MMO that I reviewed in episode 42. Wushu was unquestionably a game that held my attention for a good while, and a lot of changes were made to the game since I first gave it a look. First off, my review was very early in the US launch, so early in fact that only one internal skill was available to each school, capping character levels around level 36 or so, in the spiritually balanced block of levels. Since that time, both the second internal was released, available when reaching near the cap of the first internal or with enough school reputation levels, and what seemed like very shortly afterward, talk and implementation of the third school internal was completed, and this was a whole different beast. While the second internal was fairly straightforward, capping you at certain levels and forcing you to go on a task until you could learn the next block of levels, third internals required you to learn each and every level individually by grinding school certificates and then performing a very specific set of quests after you've traded in enough for each level. Sometimes requiring something as inconsequential as a few items, to outright requiring multiple full clears of a fairly difficult dungeon. This varied completely by your school as well, leaving some schools, like the Scholars, stuck at one level hoping to get a good group for their dungeon, while others, like the Tangmen and Royal Guards, soared through the early levels with all fairly simple tasks. Luckily, it was later implemented that you could just buy out of a certain task if you found it too difficult to complete. It didn't come cheap, but it was sometimes easier than the alternative. New internals also drastically affect your stats, and some seem more suited to certain combat styles than others. It's not entirely unheard of for a Tangmen player to revert to their second internal skill if using a melee set, in lieu of their third. If they choose to use a more PvP or melee-focused set, as the benefits of the second set, such as the debuff Mangle or the boost to your Brawn stat, are far more beneficial to your playstyle than the health and dexterity boost of the third internal. A thing that bugged a lot of people was the fact that many cosmetic cash shop items were only available as rentals, and many felt the money would be better spent on VIP status. Well, luckily Snail did listen to this, allowing costumes to be purchased as permanent status, but at a much higher fee as per the norm in these situations. Rentals are still available, and VIP players would often receive short rental costumes as a bonus at the end of each month. This isn't the only way to earn costumes in the game, however, as the addition of the Mystery Tailor and collectible scrolls would let you find and create many different costume pieces to add much more options to your character's look. As for me, I still prefer the look of the Tangmen outfits anyway. Added at random times are the prayer events, where logging in once a day will allow you a chance at a bonus or rare item, or at the very least an item that you could collect to purchase a better item at the appropriate NPC. Wealthy players could even drop 20 tails, the community-traded currency, to have more chances at receiving bonuses, but free prayers are only available to VIP players. The first big expansion, and keep in mind that Wushu uses the word expansion the same way most MMOs use the word update, was the Legends of Mount Hua expansion, adding a few features like the Mount Hua tournament. The tournament could only be entered by those with a ticket, which upon using it would flag your character as a participant and allow you to gain points by killing other players who were also participants, giving more excuses for people to be both jerks and cry about being killed when they are. With the expansion also came the mentoring system, where a high-level player with a maxed out second or third internal skill could take on a lower-level player as a mentor. Mentors and their apprentices gain mutual benefits, like increased skill cultivations, easy teleports to each other's locations, and more. Around this time, there was an announcement that the two lowest populated servers, White Tiger and the server I was playing on, Black Tortoise, would be merging, with White Tiger absorbing Black Tortoise, and any characters with matching names on the new server would be known as their name plus BT in parentheses. They also added a new server around this time by the name of Golden Kirin, and while it might seem odd to add a new server when they just had to merge two older servers, remember that people are apprehensive about starting new characters in open PvP games if the server that they're playing on is swarming with high-level players who've been playing for months. Another interesting thing about Golden Kirin server is that it's purposefully made a few months behind the other servers and doesn't receive the new upgrades at the exact time that they're released to other servers. Another new expansion upgrade just hit with the subtitle of Ultimate Scrolls, adding a bit of new content, including the marriage system, which, like the mentoring system, requires a tenuous set of rules, but with added benefits for those married in the game. Also included are the long-awaited 4th School combat sets, a revamp to the PvP system that allows players to obtain items that they can trade for tails, new instances, and more single-player challenges. Age of Wushu certainly isn't the populated game it was a few months ago, and it's a game that's highly reliant on who you're playing with rather than when you are or what you're doing. It doesn't take too much for the whole system to unravel on you. Still, time spent in the game can be a lot of fun if you put the effort to stick with it and start understanding some of the quirks. It's time I don't really regret spending myself, but definitely something that's really tough to recommend. I'll be sure to check back with this game and others in more episodes of MMO Grinder Backtrack. Oh yeah, the game's translation makes it more of a puzzle than anything. Team practice is the ultimate source of drama, and other players will be more infamous and feared than any of the NPCs that you'll encounter in the game. Some things never change.